What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to the MMA Savvy podcast. It's your favorite host, Ari Weiss, and today we'll be discussing UFC Fight Night Lewis vs. Teixeira that goes down Saturday night in Nashville. In standard Savvy fashion, we'll go through the card, analyze all the big fights, and drop our official MMA Savvy fight picks. So with that, let's go straight to the card and get moving. Okay, so here we go, baby. Lewis versus Teixeira live in Nashville this coming Saturday night. I love that it's not the Apex. We've had a nice break from the Apex, but let me not go down that rabbit hole. Let's just stay fired up here. Those Tennessee folks going hard in Nashville. It's going to probably be a loud, raucous crowd, which we all know that I like. Saturday night, let's go. So the card is okay. I mean, the matchup I don't really think should be a main event matchup because Lewis has not really been the same the last 2 years, but Teixeira is such a rising star phenom that I guess why not? To me, it's still more of a co-main, but anyway, it's still going to be good. And one other thing to note is we just came off a bye, which I hate. I know it was 4th of July weekend, but come on, Dana, we should never have byes anymore. I don't care what you think, Richie boy. There should be fights every week, okay? So we're going to break it down. I'm not over the moon about it, but it's not bad. Okay. So first fight of the night, Junior Tafa, Tuco Tokis. Listen, Tafa 6-3, Tokis 10-5. If we look at the odds here, Tafa is a minus 180 favorite. He's coming off the win, even though he's been kind of up and down in his career. Tokis is coming off back-to-back losses to start his UFC career, which is not promising. So this is a light heavyweight matchup. And listen, I'm a little bit torn. Nico and Rich both taking Tokis. By the way, I will be calling out my co-host picks in case you're confused by the mentions of Nico and Rich. Those are my savvy co-hosts that you'll see on the other shows. But anyway, they're both taking Tokis. They're going out on a limb. I'm taking Tafa, baby. Sorry, boys, but I'm holding the fort. He's a minus 180. He's coming off the win. He's got heavy hands. I don't trust Tokis. Okay, let's move along. Second fight of the night. Vitor Petrino, 11-2. Austin Lane, 13-6, both coming off losses. Big time heavyweight matchup here. Very pivotal. Let's just look at Petrino. Petrino had been undefeated, but then he loses to Smith by submission. He got caught early in that fight, if you guys remember. And then he gets KO'd by Jacoby in the third. So he's reeling a little bit, and that's why he's moved up to heavy. I'm always a little hesitant when you go from light heavyweight to heavy. Do you have the size to deal with the big galoots and the Goliaths like an Austin Lane? But as we've seen from Lane, he's also really up and down. He lost to Pinto on that last one. I remember Nico took Lane. I took Pinto smartly, but he did have that big win against Spain. So he's got a shot, and he is huge. And maybe that's going to be a benefit because Vitor is a light heavyweight moving up. But the thing is, if you look at the line, Petrino is a minus 650, Lane with the plus 420. So all three savvy bros are taking Petrino. Vegas must know something that we don't. Although I say this could be a little bit of an upside if you want to touch this, because I don't know if I trust Petrino coming off the 2 straight losses, but he's definitely still 11-2, great record, great hands, good ground game. So they're thinking he's going to be able to pull this off. Okay, we move to the third fight. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrier, featherweight bout. Now, if you look at the records, Landwehr is 18-6. Morgan is 20-11, right? Both coming off losses. And then if you look at the odds here, Landwehr is the underdog. He's a plus 196 and Charrier is minus 260. Rich taking Nate the Train. Nico playing it smart and taking Charrier at minus 260. And I got to say, I was kind of mulling this one over, and I always like to have a nice underdog pick up my sleeve. So I'm going with Rich on this one. Give me Nate the Train, baby. I know maybe it's a little bit of a Hail Mary, but hey, Charrier's coming off that loss to Wood. We called the Wood upset last time. So maybe he shouldn't be as highly favored as he is. And I feel like maybe Nate the Train gives us a nice, exciting upset on the main card here. Okay, let's keep rolling. Bigger fights the whole rest of the way. I know I was kind of giving this card crap earlier, but it's pretty decent. What I would characterize the next 3 fights is kind of the older guy who's been dwindling, who's on a losing streak, but has a ranking. And then these up-and-coming killers that are on these win streaks, right? They could be the future of the sport or the future of that division, and they're kind of colliding here. So does the seasoned guy keep his ranking and get a big win, or do the young guns blitzkrieg through and get all these wins to, further their career here? So next fight, Kattar versus Garcia. Kattar, number 14 in the world at featherweight. Love Kattar, but he's on a 4-fight slide. Garcia, if we take a look at this, so let's look at the records. Kattar's 23-9. Garcia's 17-5. He had that unbelievable win against Giga back in 2022. And we thought the world of him. Even though he'd had that bad loss to Holloway, he reset himself nicely. And Nico and I were like, oh my God, this guy looks unstoppable. And then he loses 4 straight to Emmett, to Allen, to Sterling, and to Zalal. But all top level guys, 4 straight losses is rough though. And usually your career is almost over at that point, at least in the UFC. Then you look at Garcia, man, complete opposite. This guy, 5 straight first round KOs. Unbelievable path here. So just like I mentioned, it's the tale of 2 paths colliding. Kattar, who had been a top 5 guy, has now slid all the way down to number 14, and Garcia with 5 straight victories. So this one's tricky because I want to take Kattar. Let's look at the line. So Garcia is the slight minus 130 favorite. So that's tough because it's almost like a pick'em here. So Nico, shockingly, even though Kattar's his boy, is being smart. He's taking Garcia. Richie has the balls. He's got the cojones to take Kattar. And you know what? I'm taking Garcia here just because I feel like the confidence of Kattar after 4 straight losses, and on the opposite side, Garcia with 5 straight knockout wins. When you go on runs like that, you just feel like you're unstoppable. And I just think he's going to maybe be too much. However, the one way Kattar could win this, if he can weather the storm and get through the first couple rounds and use his strategic boxing, maybe he wears down a Garcia. It's very, very close, but I am siding with Nico in this and taking Garcia here. Okay, co-main event, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim, one of the Bonfim brothers. It's a welterweight fight. Thompson, number 12 in the world. Let's look at the records. Thompson now is 17-8-1. Bonfim is 17-1. He had been undefeated until he finally lost to Dalby just a couple fights ago, but then he reset himself and he won a couple more. This guy's very scary and could be part of this next wave that we keep talking about. Let's just look at Wonderboy. Wonderboy way back in 2017 had been on top of the world almost. And he had that unbelievable draw to Woodley back in 2016, 9 years ago. Wow. And then losing the follow-up, but he was really in those fights, right? And then he just has a really up and down kind of rough couple of years. He would win some, he would lose some, and he just slowly been falling. Then he got grappled by Burns. He got grappled by Muhammad. Then he reset himself to win against Holland, even though Nico was still kind of pissed about that because Holland had a chance to get a takedown. Then he loses to Rakhmonov and Buckley. Basically, he keeps getting grappled. And then finally, he was knocked out by Buckley. Right? So it really just looks like the end of days for Wonderboy. I was a big Wonderboy fan. I just don't see this happening for him here. Bonfim, on the other hand, man, he's just, besides that loss to Dalby, he's won all of his UFC fights, a bunch of submissions. And so he's very dangerous on the ground, on the feet. This could spell trouble for Wonderboy. If you look at the odds here, Bonfim is a minus 430. So it really just looks like Vegas. Everybody is saying, okay, it's time for Wonderboy maybe to hang him up here. He still does have that number 12 ranking. Maybe Bonfim is coming up in class, but I just think from what Wonderboy has done over the past couple of years, he's just not the same guy that he was, 7, 8 years ago. And so all three savvy bros are taking Bonfim. Some of us probably want to take Wonder Boy, but it's just too risky. So Bonfim is the pick. And again, the theme of this is the old guard, probably their swan song, and all these new young killers getting their ranking. And I do got to say, even though it's not the greatest card, at least we are going to see some new blood in these divisions with the new rankings. And if our favorite guys get a big win here, then we also win in that sense. All right, main event, Lewis versus Teixeira. Don't love the fight as a main event, but Derrick Lewis does have the most knockouts, I believe, in UFC history. He's still the number 9 heavyweight in the world. And because Teixeira is so enticing, let's actually look at Teixeira first, the number 13 heavyweight in the world. If you look at his fight history in the UFC, he has one win, right? He beat Tafa by knockout, but I had to go back here. Let's look at what he's done. He's won his first 8 fights all in the first round, submission, and then 7 straight KOs. So this is exciting. We were just complaining about how there isn't enough young gun killers in the heavyweight division, and maybe Teixeira is what this division needed, okay? And if we look at the line, Teixeira is a minus 310, okay? So part of me wanted to say screw it and take Lewis, but when you look at that, man, Lewis is just not the same. He's been kind of up and down. Let's just take a look at what Lewis has done. So he had been on that monumental run, but then he loses to Tuivasa, loses to Pavlovich, loses to Spivak. He does beat De Lima, but then loses to Almeida and then comes back and KOs Nascimento. So he's still there. He still maybe has a shot at glory. He's got heavy hands. And if Teixeira wants to stand and trade, Lewis has a puncher's chance. So I would almost love to see him win in Nashville. The place would go completely ballistic, but there's just too much stuff against him. He's just not the same guy that he was when he got that unbelievable KO victory against Blades a couple years ago. So all 3 savvy bros are taking Teixeira. It's just the smart pick. I'm sorry, Lewis. I'm sorry, Wonder Boy. I'm sorry, Cater. But I think the theme of this night is you guys are sliding. You might be at the tail end of your careers. I do wish you the best. I will be rooting for all of these 3, but I think Garcia, Bonfim, and Teixeira are probably just going to be too much in this new wave of fighters that we've been highlighting and talking about. So all 3 of us are taking Teixeira. I wanted to switch last second and take Lewis, but then I looked at that record and it was just too scary. So I got to be lame. But overall, I'm excited for the night now that I've pumped myself up and hopefully pumped all the viewers up. It's in Nashville. It's going to be fun. And after that bye week, I will take anything because I'm a fight junkie. It's going to be exciting. It's going to fill that gap that we need. Let's get back into it. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you for listening to the MMA Savvy podcast, the world's top place for MMA content. If you love these weekly episodes, make sure to hit subscribe. And if you're a real MMA enthusiast, check out the old MMA Savvy videos on our page. You might see some videos of UFC legends such as Fabricio Verdum, Ronda Rousey, and John Jones. The old channel has been revived and we couldn't be more excited. So please subscribe, follow, comment, like, share, and blast on all of our social channels. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We love the comments and interactions with the fans. So with that, stay savvy, fight fans.